together the report in November of 2022. We were coming out of COVID. Most of our temporary people wanted to join and get a permanent position. And then it was very easy once they advertised to get qualified candidates. After we went through the typhoon, what we found was there was a period where we needed to do a lot of catch up. So after the initial picking up of refuse, which we did 3 times as much refuse in the transfer stations and twice as much on the curbside during that period, we were behind in repossessions and delivering of new parts. We had to basically get a couple of delivery crews to try to catch up with that. And also what happened was the labor market changed. So my qualified drivers were offered, a lot more money for a cleanup or to drive a dump truck than they were to drive a refuse truck. So we lost people through that. The permanent people that I have right now, we're all of an age that we have either parents or they themselves have medical conditions. So I have 13 people with maternity leave, sick leave, family medical, or limitations that we have to backfill with some type of person to do their job while they're, recovering, or we could find a permanent replacement. So it's our full intention not to, this is the, Kathy put together the run rate of the expenditures as we know it right now. The other thing I'd like to point out is we had sufficient revenues, again, from the typhoon. We have put together a $500,000 reimbursement from FEMA, which is in the final stages of approval. And there's currently a soil job that's going on at the old Deddo transfer station, which should bring in about $1 million or so. So these increases will not affect rates in any way. So if you have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them for them.
Thank you. Doris, you have a question?
I think that one, but in your exhibit one of the things I noticed, and this is, sanitation work went from $16.95 at the company started to $24. That's a 45%. So my question to you is, such as the how does that rate compare to what you're paying?
It's a little higher, but not by much for a permanent worker. So that rate increase was a part of the PHR contract.
So what accounted for that's a 45% increase?
Right, that was the contract that was, again, through procurement and competitively bid. That was the lowest that we chose. We chose year one pricing, but it was in a CPI adjustment, so that was the result.
Can I see?
Well, I was thinking at a rate of $25 an hour, and that was sanitation worker.
That's what I was saying with the current labor market, again, with the military buildup, that's what we're going rate for experienced equipment operators.
The equipment operators even more.
I'm sorry, the sanitation, right? A skilled labor commands that.
I just add to Doris's comment. So just to understand, sir, the current hourly rate is the 1854, and then obviously the billed rate of 2608, that 45% is the employment agency's rate. Right. That's what they bill. So and you mentioned earlier that you were, because of the labor force and we all understand the current situation that the job market is tough to find people. At 2608, could you find full-time employees since they seem to be better employees,
That's what I was saying, that our permanent rate is close to that.
It's close to the 26
Yes,
already.
and we still have difficulty.
Okay, and then you do the benefits on top of that.
Correct.
Then, the last question is on the overtime. Is it because, are they working the same, these temporary workers, are they working 6 days a week?
Well, in most cases, it's 5 days a week.
And so,
Yeah, we've had several delays, some, and again, with the separations that we've actually had to collect some of the recycling on a Saturday and push people on. So that's where the overtime comes in. We pushed, for, I don't know, last month or so, part of Monday's route got pushed to Tuesday, part of Tuesday gets pushed to Wednesday.
this because of the backlog.
Yeah. I mean, early on, we had trouble getting enough trucks to run. Now we have trouble finding enough drivers and helpers. So
Yeah, you guys need
the
your
first,
How many trucks do you have now?
we have 10 that are serviceable. We normally take one down for basically extensive maintenance. And so on the good side, when before we hired the mechanic, most of our trucks broke down. We had to fix them. Right now, we're able to take them out for a week or 2 week period and thoroughly go through everything that could be wrong with them and fix them. So our uptime is increased, and the downtime is when we want it to be down, not the other way around.
How many new trucks did you receive so far? I know you ordered.
We have 5 new ones. One is coming at the end of this month, and then 4 more by June of 2025. And our intention is to keep the current 4 band-aided until that time.
So, is it, we have how many equipment operators and how many sanitation workers?
Well, right now we're running at, I think, 4 equipment operators and 8 sanitation. But we hope to, like I said, by April, reduce that by at least 2 equipment operators and 2 more sanitation. And our intent is to really reduce that even further to get back to what we told you would happen in 2022.
So how many sanitation workers will you need to service the whole island, and how many equipment operators? Just 2? Or is that any people?
Again, to handle like the military leave or fraternity leave or separation, we would like to keep at least 2 equipment operator positions, or perhaps 4, depending on the labor market, available. Not that necessarily we'll use them, but they become available. And then at least 6 to 8 sanitation workers.
To service the whole island.
Right.
He's want to finish it. When they finish it. I think Joe.
Yeah, with your trucks, your electric trucks are here as well?
They are, yes.
And how satisfied are you doing the whole route as you anticipated?
Well, we ran into an issue trying to get them registered and also to get the charger installed. But we're working with local electrical contractors to get that installed up to the John landfill, and working with GPA to permit that for us.
When do you anticipate them being on route?
We put out an RFP about a month and a half ago. We only had 1 respondent, and it was that exceeded our budget, so we reissued it. We've got at least 2 quotations that are within the budget, so we're going to put that out probably into this week and hopefully get that installed early May or early May.
Okay, Peter, you got a follow-up?
Yeah, just a quick, with existing contracts, do you anticipate, because of the labor force issues, that this is going to be an ongoing budget that you have to, you're going to come back before us again for more years of temporary workers? And do you have anything in your existing contract with PHRS that prohibits you from hiring their employees, or do they encourage them to go permanent with you?
I don't think they encourage us, but there's no restriction.
To bring them on board?
Right, right. And as I said back in November, in my 38 years in both government and or private sector, I've always had temporary labor contracts. Just because the business changes, I've been through, famine and feast with applicants, 22 a job offering or 0. So it depends. And I've went through my equipment operators making twice as much money pushing dirt around residential developments versus working at a landfill. So it's just the nature of the work and the business and who you're competing with.
Do you anticipate this going on?
Yes.
Yes.
Doris, did you have anything else?
Sort of who you're competing with. Maybe because there's 2 or 3 other private companies. Are they experiencing the same personnel challenge?
I think so, yeah. It's mainly, if I were to characterize it, it's mainly trash people moving over towards construction, working that direction.
One more question. There's like the recycling. How is recycling? Now, is it helpful?
So, like I explained, I think, to the press about a month ago, 2 months ago, right now, plastic is being buried at landfill because there's no market. It's not our intent to continue that. I've had talk to American Samoa and Fiji, who are using the Schweier's shipping company. I want to say that fast 3 times. They have a program that Guam can take advantage of that takes curbside recycling products and ships them free of charge to any one of the ports that this shipping company goes to. I've had discussions with them. There's going to be a UOG conference, and those island members are going to be present. And we'll see if we can put together sort of a co-op for recyclables so that our pool of material commands it's more respect or more notice than each island individually. We'll be able to consolidate the tonnage, hopefully get a better market and better rates for that. Take advantage of, again, that free transportation. But it's not happening right now. I hope that it will.
Go ahead, Mike. As you know, I can just feel it. So, yeah, just to have a couple of questions. One of them was interesting to me that we have temporary workers that are willing to perform this work, $16.95. Not willing, if these same workers are not willing to be permanent employees. That's what you're experiencing, that these temporary workers would prefer to be temporary, not be hired.
Yeah, I don't know the exact reasoning, but I think the pull is not so much towards Guam, but maybe towards, working in the construction field for a much higher wage. That's the pull from the temporaries not wanting to come to us. They may get better offers elsewhere.
So they don't want to commit to it.
Right, and I think, and I've heard that from the PHR people as well. They're having a difficult time actually trying to find people for me to use. They have the same issue.
If you have 18 temporary positions, that doesn't mean it's those same needs.
Right. No.
The other question I had is, even though you're paying, you have to pay DHRS their bill rate, so they're actually, there's a margin that they're.
Right.
But do you end up saving overall on labor because you're not paying benefits that you would be paying to?
Well, overall, we do, if you want to take a look at, once we do get them, as long as they don't get sick or other reasons, we do retain them. So that's a cost that is built in, so they're actually, permanent people are cheaper in the long run than they are than the contract rate. I need the contract rate just because I need a person quickly. Even with the benefits, it's still with the retainage as you get, it's a better employee, a better worker than using the temps.
I'm not paying the same, like all the deductions and benefits on their paychecks, but they're actually employees of the press.
Right.
Saving some on that. And it's less overall cost than if you had 18. Or is it?
It's either a wash, or again, if you count the fact that you don't have to worry about them leaving, they really like their permanent job with the government. You don't have to build in the cost of trying to replace them versus the revolving door with temporary labor.
Your hourly rate, or does that have to go before?
That's all.
All those.
That's all follow the government. Yeah.
Anything else? If not, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve GSWA docket 2403.
Thank you, Pete. Is there a second?
Second.
Joe seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. Next item. GWA docket 2406. This was a petition for GWA to procure design build for GWA's Upper Tucson campus improvements. This one is going to be postponed until next month, I believe. Is that correct, Joe? Thank you. The next item is GPA docket number 2415, petition of the Guam Power Authority to approve the award of 20 megawatts of temporary power. We have an ALJ report proposed or read.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. The quest of GPA to secure the 20 megawatts of temporary power has definitely been a long and winding road. And I think we could commend the GM and legal counsel Wallachek for sticking in there and pushing this to get it done. And in fact, today I can tell you that I've been through 3 separate orders for what I would present to the commission as right. We have kind of a different story to tell at this point. So after all this time, we had GPA proposing the 20 megawatts of temporary power, went to the legislature, took a while to get the bill passed that approved that, and that's a public law, became public law 37-81, which amended part of GPA's organic law to provide for this temporary power. They had to change provisions in the existing emergency procurement law from allowing just a 90-day emergency procurement to 1 year, which would be 2 years. That change had to be made in the law. And also, there was a provision requiring the Attorney General to approve the procurement as to form and legality. Now, I'm not going to go all through the emergency procurement law, 5 GCA 5215. It's extremely complex, has many, many requirements, all of which, as far as I can tell, GPA has complied with. A very difficult task, but it makes you wonder about whether a simplified version of the emergency procurement could ever be enacted. But at this point, I think it's really clear, you commissioners are as aware of this as anyone, that there have been a number of setbacks that GPA has had over the last 8 years, actually, in terms of load capacity generation. And, you know, for those of us that have been here for a while, you can certainly go back to 2015 when Capers 3 and 4 exploded and took 80 megawatts out of the system. That was a big loss. There have been a number of other problems with solar plants. 2018, you're extremely familiar with Anwa and what didn't happen there, depriving the system of 60 megawatts. There's the phase 3, where there was supposed to be 40 to 45 megawatts on Navy property, but because of a procurement protest and delay, that never got built. And then, of course, there are a number of other problems that resulted from Typhoon Marwa. The fact that the GIGO CT, 20 megawatts out of power, the delay in the Ukadu 198 megawatt plant. So, circumstances, and most of which are really beyond GPA's control, that meant that the load capacity in the system probably wasn't sufficient to meet what we normally need, which is, you know, in the range of 250 to 270 megawatts. Now, you also know that last year, September, October, November, there was not enough load capacity to run the system. That resulted in many hours of load shift. And the problem that GPA has pointed out, we've been in the cool system, cooler part of the year, but that's changing now. And we're already, I think, moving into a warmer part of the year. The GPA has a legitimate concern that without additional power quickly, that again, we could be in a situation of load shift. I think everybody wants to avoid that, should want to avoid that, and should take every reasonable step to it. So here, EPA came up with the emergency procurement for 20 megawatts of temporary power. And in fact, the number of bidders that there was only one, that's a Greco, that could guarantee that the temporary power would be produced within 100 days. But they were selected as a company to basically bring the power to Guam. I believe it'll be their power plant, and they will determine the setup. It will be at the GIGO CT site. And they will be responsible for operating the plant. So, in terms of approval of this, quite long ago, GPA had submitted a draft contract to us. But even as of this morning, I wasn't aware that there was a signed contract by Greco. Because what happened was after the Attorney General had required certain changes, Greco was not happy with those, and GM Benavente had to negotiate with them to get them to agree to the proposed changes. And the other issue was that the Attorney General had requested numerous changes, which GPA basically tried to implement and followed what the Attorney General had requested. So there was more negotiation of the contract. And even as of this morning, I was not aware that any contract had been signed, but I now have in my hands a signed contract between the Greco and GPA. It has all the signatures on the signature page, which is for Greco and for the Attorney General's. So finally, we have a signed contract. Before I was aware of that, I was considering other options, such as once GPA had the contract and the AG signature, we could do the chairman's order procedure that we followed before. Some questions about that, I think. So then the other option was a special meeting to address it. But fortunately now, we've avoided all of that, and we have a signed contract. From what I reviewed in the contract, well, first of all, just to finish with the need for the temporary power, I think it's very clear that GPA has shown that, so I'm entirely satisfied with that. They've met all the requirements for emergency procurement and Public Law 3781. As of now, the final two requirements, AG signature and the contract, have been met. Now, I could say that the cost of this contract, it's not cheap. You know, you're having a company having to bring in all the units and operate it. There's even a startup charge, initial charge of about $1 million to get everything in order. And over 2 years, it's going to cost $25 million. The charge is, you know, for kilowatt, I believe, is based on the LEAC rate, but there's a number of other charges here. So, in my opinion, it does not seem to be cheap power. But on the other hand, it's power. And GPA faces the quandary of either doing nothing and taking the risk of load shedding, or coming up with the only available method of this contract. So I think that, you know, in light of that, it's a reasonable decision to indicate that it's better to have some expensive power available, you know, for a 2-year period until the Ukidu plant is online. That's a reasonable choice to avoid load shedding. So for now, we're at the point where fully within the Commission's authority to approve this contract. The contract itself seems, again, fairly standard in a lot of the provisions that would protect EPA. The AG has approved it. Chief Legal Officer is the former legality. I think I'm satisfied that the contract is appropriate. I recommend in the order that PUC approve the emergency procurement for 20 megawatts of temporary power, and this will approve the award to Agreco to supply, install, operate, and maintain 20 megawatts of temporary power services at the Chico CT site.
Thank you, Fred. John, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, certainly everything I saw to our team up to 5 o'clock or so today. That's when all the signatures were put together. So I'm relieved that we're here at this point, and I will be completely relieved once the PUC passes this tonight. Which also means that the notice to proceed begins April 1st. Based on 100 days, now you're looking at July 5th, 11 as the contract period. Certainly, GPA and Agreco will work very closely to expedite it as much as possible. I think the last time we brought in temporary power, it took about 75 days to get it in. So we're still looking now around the June time frame, no? But again, we'll work very hard to get it up. The May, again, yes, the load are starting to come up. Today's load is 233, which is the highest for March. And so here we're going to April and certainly May. But the team has also been working very hard to fix other machines. DOD is providing us 6 megawatt, working on another 6 megawatt to help us out. Gathers 1 and 2 has been working and running more stable now. Number 2 is down today, but it's coming up this evening after a 3-day shutdown for changing battery banks as preventive maintenance so that we don't lose the turbine bearings. So things that we have to do throughout the course of this. So yes, with your approval tonight, we can get to work, and it's going to take about probably 3 to 4 weeks to get the machines here. In the meantime, work already is beginning to move out the existing machines up in Jigo, so that we have laid out half of the compound for a record for the 20 megawatts. As you noted, I first came to you with 40 megawatts, but like Fred said, it's extremely expensive this time around versus the last time. It's about twice the price to bring it in. So the one thing that did not change was our budget. Our budget was around 10 million a year, 12 million a year. And remember, I said that will not impact us, require us to increase the rate to accommodate that. So that's why we went from 40 down to 12 to make it happen. And so again, like I said, the conditions are standard. We will be operating it, and then there will be a savings in fuel from operating at Greco. At minimum, you're looking at about $5 to $6 million a year in fuel savings. So the contracts are on 11 minus, say, 5 that so now the contracts really cost into 6. Now, the 10 million will still be paid out of our base rate, but the 5 to 6 million fuel saving is going to go directly to all the consumers, because that's the LEAC rate, the fuel savings. So unless you change that, which we're not asking to do, that's not the way it is. We're going to pay it from our base rate, and the consumer is going to get the savings through the LEAC, which will help with the under recovery, if you will. So that, Mr. Chair, I just pray you all approve this so we can now really get to work and get these machines and moving here in the island. And there's no doubt if we don't have this 20 megawatts, there will be a huge load shedding. I'll just give you an idea. Most circuits are 2 to 3 megawatts. 20 megawatts is about 10 circuits. One base load is down, you're probably down for 1 hour or 2 hours for the same equipment group. With 2 base loads down, you're now looking at maybe 3 to 4 times for the same group. So it makes a huge difference. Jigo City is the water. I think it'll be here by the 7th at the latest, and then we'll get to work and get that done try and get that on the line by April. So that would also help. The combination of the 240 megawatts, certainly by somewhere around the end of June.
Thank you, Jim. So the Agreco 20 megawatts is going to go back in the old site up in Jigo when that gets here?
That's correct. Remember, there's about 39 units up there.
Yeah.
So we're going to take half of the footprint. We're removing and replacing those that are working. We're moving over to GPA site, and so that we can. And those that are not, those that are working within the GPA, ones are not working on our site. The balance we're going to store in a property we lease from the smaller land trust, which is right adjacent to GPA. So, and then clear out the site and get it ready for them to plug in the generators. They arrive in about 3 to 4 weeks, I believe.
Are they going to be helping you out with trying to get some of the old ones back up to speed? Are they doing that also?
We certainly will be needing their help to help us assess and and make some recommendations, not at least the expertise to do that. Because one, I mean, some of those machines that we have are, has control systems that where not anyone's really entirely familiar with. So those are things that we will again look at and move forward. I think that'll be on a task order basis. So once we know what's the fastest way to restore, bring Chico diesel from the 8 megawatts it is today to about 20 megawatts also. That would help. That's another 12 to 20, 8 to 20. That's another 12 megawatts that will help in the system. So yeah, we'll be asking for their expertise to assist us in assessing, making recommendations. How do we repair some of the units that are fastest to be repairable? And I've seen some that I think could be repaired. So.
Thanks. Commissioners, go ahead.
John, just thank you for clarifying. I was going to ask that about the old ones and then the repair status of those. So the assessment, that's good news. Is this existing contract of 25 million? Is this a use it or lose it kind of thing? No matter whether you use their power or not, we're paying them that $1 million a month.
There's a fixed capacity fee, which is yes, you pay every month.
Right.
And there's a fixed O&M fee, which takes care of labor and others, which again we pay every month. What we don't pay based on if they don't have is variable costs,
right.
Costs for oil, costs for various things like that. But as I noted earlier, we plan to run them.
Yeah,
So that we can
using them, you're going to save money on fuel.
That's correct.
So I remember the old Agreco machines were expensive to run. So where is that fuel savings coming from? Is it just because it's cheap?
The old Agreco units
or the existing power
the
plants?
diesel units are more efficient than combustion turbines, the ones that we have, because our combustion turbines are, remember, close to 30-year vintage already, right?
Right.
So Agreco is coming in at 12 kilowatt hours per gallon, the old Agreco. Our average for combustion turbine is 10.5 kilowatt hours a year. 10.5 kilowatt per gallon of fuel. So the Agreco 1, if you will, was still saving us money. Agreco 2 now is coming in not 12 but 13.2 kilowatt hours per gallon versus our still 10.5. So therefore, that's really a 5 to 6 million. But yes, we have to operate it. So we'll be operating it close to 100 million kilowatt hours per year. That's been what we're thinking about.
So, and then with this 2-year contract, how does that impact your plan to expedite paying the additional $5 million? Since we're going to have to pay them no matter what, are we kind of shooting ourselves in the foot? Where's the benefit? To get liquidity up earlier.
There's the reason why we only went for 2 years is because we're trying to get Okudu up by, first it was, remember, January 2026.
Right.
So now you're looking at this contract ending around April of 2026.
Yeah, aren't you pushing Okudu? It was 2026, but they said they were going to do it in October, and then now there was some kind of
but I'm trying to show you that the energy savings from the Agreco units is 6 million per year, right? Or 500,000 per month. The fuel savings from having Ukudo come on is about 5 million per month. So that's why it's 18 million savings and stuff. So you can still run, Ukudo, what you call it, this temporary power. But again, it just depends which gives you the most fuel. Right? And again, Ukudo's coming on the line. And you're right, there's a petition coming to yourselves. September 15 is the date that we've provided. With a $4 million incentive to be done by September 30, another million by September 15. The total of $5 million. If they do not meet the September 30 date, we don't pay them anything at all. So they're gonna have to, and if they don't meet the September 30 date, they pay us $240,000 a day.
Right.
So therefore, all the, it just now gives us a set date to get
So
this.
the 2 years and then expediting complements the savings and the benefits altogether.
That's correct, because if you look at even I estimate on the what happens when, what it is today, which is around 22 cents a kilowatt hour, with Ukudo coming on the line and PD8 and 9 running and some of the other combustion turbines and other for peaking and all of those different things as necessary, Ukudo's price will be around 13.5 cents a kilowatt hour. So that's the big difference. So again, the Agreco will be running maybe not as much as before, but certainly, most especially now, with that up until the end up to when Ukudo comes on, because we're bringing a huge premium now for fuel oil, because we have clean air. We're burning out low sulfur diesel and 0.2% sulfur. So, that was supposed to be only a short period of time, in 2024, but now it's been delayed, so, but yeah, that be coming to yourself, but yeah, that's why, originally, I think we were looking at maybe, 2 year plus 3 1 year. Right now, it's only 2 years, plus there's an option that, in there that if we give them 90 days notice, then a contract may be extended, of course, subject to everyone's approval. And again, that's just in case, hopefully nothing else happens in this track towards Ukudo coming on the line.
But it's minimum 2 years though. There's no way to, so you gotta do the opposite then, is to cut it short if you need to.
Not really, and I'm not looking to cut it short. I feel more comfortable that, again, new power plants, you have to give it some, they say it's commission, but you gotta give it sometimes to work out the kinks, especially power plant is just going through a storm, different things. So that's why I feel very comfortable with the 2 year format.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe.
What's current capacity today?
About, right now, about 238 with a rolling. The peak, 233.
Wow.
That's cutting.
Okay. But Campus 2 is coming on the line later on tonight, which will put up, Campus 2 is running at 38 megawatts. So that will run. So right now we have Campus 1 at 42 and Campus 2 at 38. Now if you recall, again, I like to knock on wood and pray, right? But if you recall, September, October, November, we had very difficult time keeping unit number 2 on the line. Tube leak after tube leak after tube leak. But since late November, campus number 2 now has been on the line and has been operating up to about 3 days ago when we took it down for changing the battery pack schedule outage. So,
John, when you say 238 plus CAP 2, are you including the interruptible load program and the Navy and also the potential for the GWA generators too?
I don't think we're running those today. I could be corrected by Jennifer here, but I think we're very close. And of course, the Rodi is 6 megawatts. So again, whenever we look that we're going to be short, DoD will back us up with the 6, and we're also working and trying to get another 6 from the Rodi through this period of time. But yes, some interruptible load has been used.
Summertime's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and that's why first good news will be GUCT on the line, and shortly thereafter, the temporary power. So there's no doubt that we get it, and then again, if the base loads are running, remember the criteria is one base down, then we have some potential load shedding without all these new units. Two base load, we're 2 hours, several hours of load shedding. So now that will be, we get these machines operating GQ onward, then that would be allow that.
And I'm going to ask this to, last time we worked with the Greco, you ended up purchasing the generators at the end of the contract. Looking ahead to crystal ball, you think there's any plan to do that maybe, or no, or?
No, I'm not looking at purchasing this now.
Not necessary in this master.
Remember, we're also trying to, there is that other contract, we're trying to put 20 megawatts down at,
Right.
yeah. And I'm looking there, hopefully getting, repairing the ones we have, and if not, if it's new machines that are better and more efficient, then that'll be our best way to go. And then, because again, there are some proprietary things that go into those machines that, could make it difficult to keep it running. So, no, I don't have any plans to purchase this.
And our data aware of that,
They're aware that they can always offer us, but I guess they may be listening tonight. But again, I don't have any plans of purchasing this. If anything, if we hit another kink on the road and we need to keep them longer, then there's a provision in the contract that within 90 days or so or we work something out.
Go ahead.
Again, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Nothing. Mike has something, he's reaching for his mic.
So in the filing, it says that if the temporary generators are not up and running by May, then we'll have extensive load shedding. You're saying that it'll probably be mid-June, or that's the projected time. Is there a way to shorten that by paying additional?
I think what they're doing is the fastest. The last time we did this was 75 days. So I'm thinking we'll be up. I'm not putting any target for them, but we'll be talking as to how we can expedite it. No. So again, the key here is that load shedding you see is with a base load unit down or second base load unit, 2 base load units down. So if we can keep the base loads running as we get through this, then we can survive this, and that's certainly what we're going to try and do. But if we didn't do what we're doing today, we certainly will be in that scenario. Knowing the situation today. So we're gonna try and keep the power rolling as it have. I think that the last since around Thanksgiving, I believe, the power has been running quite consistently, very little load shedding and stuff. So again, Jennifer was sweating tonight, but we made it. But again, the cameras is going to be up. That's what we try to do. We take down the unit especially when we have to, especially if it's a weekend. We try to maneuver it so we minimize the impact of removing the unit. But we're going to do our best to keep it running. I'll be certainly relieved once you prove it that now we have a fighting chance of not having the load shedding. Without it, what can I say? I'm just saying the inevitable. No?
Yeah, I remember that we knew about the 100 days, And so we're pushing for to get it before May, before the peak season. But now we're like in April, so there was like some delays, obviously, right? So now we're looking at July 15th.
That's
It's 100 days.
100 days, July
April, May,
11.
June, and then you got mid-July.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got between May and July.
Yeah, and we're doing, we have some other things that we're working on, assisting with our action plan,
Okay.
getting Chico CT, getting some of the other issues operating. But we're getting some assistance and keeping every megawatt down. The Navy is working on another 6 megawatts. So we got this all in the pipeline, and we'll do our best. But certainly, if you don't have an end date to having some additional capacity or whatever, then we're gonna have to do maintenance on machines and no delays for short periods or something. We're gonna have to do it, and therefore we're right in there. So what I'm saying is, we do our best. The team has been doing this all this time, and we continue to make every effort not to impact the community, but certainly this will go a long way, no?
Right. You guys have done a good job on this. I'm going to ask one other question of Mr. John Kim that we always ask just about every month. Give us an update on the LEAC real quick and the under recovery, John.
Yes, as of February, GP under recovery is $32,043,000. Prior month under recovery was $33,303,000.
Okay. Thank you, John. So we've gained 1 million.
Yes, 1 point.
Doris, go ahead.
John, you said earlier, September 30th. Is that September 30th, 2025, the census date, or?
Yes, September, actually the full 5 million is September 15, 2025. Which means that beginning, based on the timeline, they have a commissioning, several months of commissioning, where they test the machines, make sure, because once they go into commissioning COD date, the penalties kick in. So they test these machines to make sure that they got most of them, all the kinks out of it. Yeah. So again, there'll be some relief next year around beginning around February. They'll be testing one 45 megawatt machine at a time. Then they'll test the 45 megawatt machine with the steam turbine, which will give you another 20, so about 63 megawatt combination. Testing them one at a time until they get to full load and then test that. So we're going to start, once they start doing that around February or so next year, then we're also going to start seeing some fuel savings also from that. So, yeah. So once.
Gradually operate to the full 98.
That's correct. They have to go testing each unit at a time, make sure all the kinks are out. There's 3 combustion turbines, they call it, and then 1 steam turbine. So with the combustion turbine, you're producing energy similar to Cabot's power plant. With the steam turbine coupled in, you're like 40% more efficient than PD8 and 9. 21 kilowatt hours per gallon versus Capra's 13 kilowatt hours per gallon within every tire.
So as they're testing the 45 at a time, that's going to go live on the grid?
Yeah. You're gonna have load, so the grid is the load.
Right.
Yeah. So if you look at the petition that we're sending in, I think the total fuel savings, total differential fuel savings today versus Ukudu coming on the line, it's about 125 million for 1 year.
So with the load though, during testing, and because it's a test, and if there's any disruptions or kinks that they gotta work out, does that affect appliances at the residential level, or at the home level?
Does it affect what?
Appliances, you know, like, because would it cause any brownouts or that kind of thing?
The downloads that would occur or whatever is the automatic frequency control. And that means if the 45 megawatts on the line at full load and it trips, then we have to dump some circuits for about 15 minutes and then bring them back.
Right.
The other thing though about Ukudo is that it has 25 megawatt of battery. So that would help alleviate the drop.
The brownouts.
Yeah. So when the batteries there and the other batteries we have, and that's why we call it the automatic under frequency. You have to balance the load with the capacity, and then you bring the rest of the units up. So usually they could take about 15 minutes, but that's not the whole thing at all.
Good. Thank you.
Going back, how likely are they to behave in such a way
How likely are they what?
to meet the incentive?
Well, I know the hammer is very big, and the hammer is $240,000 a day. So once you approve, if they do not meet September 30, it's $240,000 a day penalty. Right now, it's January 2026. So we move that date together with the incentive, the penalties come with it, and they're agreeing to that. They're not going to agree to $240,000 a day unless they can believe that they can beat this. No?
In order to do it, they're gonna have to run 24 hours.
Yes, and this is where the 5 million is going to come in to help them. Because let's not forget they've also gone through a typhoon, no? And all of that, and insurance don't pay as well, and so cash flow becomes a problem. Cost starts to rise. So everybody's never going to just to help each other to try and get this done. And of course, it's a huge savings to the ratepayers and provide the added reliability 4 months early, no? Which is, again, actually, and provide some capacity being done instead of maybe February, March, April, May, June, to the summer, July. We're going to see in February capacity running, no? This plan. So it's looking good beyond.
So that September 15 is fully turned over, turnkey solution to you guys. Or it's theirs.
It's theirs. That means that's the beginning of the commissioning.
Right.
So therefore, all fuel savings, they're going to be running at the 51% thermal efficiency, very efficient
Right.
area. But that means that we start paying 5.7 million a month. No? So when I said earlier the 5 million savings, that's after paying the 5 million a month. The actual savings per month from the Okudu is about 125 million divided by 12 is 10 million a month. We get to pay, portions of that. But I think what we looked at right now, I think the net fuel savings that will flow to the ratepayer is somewhere around $90 million. If you go to LNG and that, it pans out to be what everyone will do, that will jump to $135 million. So again, everything that was set up has been delayed, but the path is there. And if you don't believe the plan is under construction, then go pass by Derido. From Derido, you're passing the mall, you'll see someone cleared that property. Run and you can see that the park will be constructed.
Mr. Kim, can you refresh our memory on that 32 million under recovery? What was the current rates? What was the plan to get that to zero? Is it or when is that going to get to zero?
The original plan when we did this was 50% recovery. So by the end of July, we could have 50% recovery.
at the end of this year, July this year.
That was the plan.
Are you still on that?
We'll see.
You took a little baby step.
Yeah.
As you monitor, it's the, prices for like up or down, because, gasoline went up again. And that's always my indicator.
Yes, the gas prices are going up. The other thing that's happening is the transportation cost is also going up. That has to do with the rerouting of the cargo ship to the Cape of Africa.
So does this temporary power, does that help, or expedite that other recovery?
Yes, it
The
does.
savings that we're talking about?
Yes, it does. It's a little more efficient than our current plans.
So that's going bridge to, that's to be also threatened.
The one that is the one the Hutus shooting missiles at the, where you are coming from. Anything anywhere in the world that impacts that, it impacts the whole coast. And so they're going around a longer way to to bring the oil to not necessarily to the US, but other areas. But then it's a global benchmarking, so it impacts that. But again, I think it was coming down, and now in February, our average cost was about, our landing cost was about $104 a barrel for outdoor summer diesel. I think now it's maybe a little bit less for March. I'm seeing the numbers like maybe 104, 110, something like that.
Thanks again, John. Time for a motion?
Move to approve GPA docket 24-15.
Thank you, Joe. Second. Peter seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, John, and everybody at GPA for all your patience and hard work on
Yeah,
this.
thank you, Marianne, also.
Good job, Marianne.
And Since Mossy, commissioners, and we'll get to work. Thank you.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
No more load shedding.
Oh, we're not quite done. We have administrative matters? Doris, we're not done with you till midnight. Okay, so administrative matters, we have resolution number 2401 relative to extension of administrative law judge services agreement with the Guam Public Utilities Commission. Greg, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is similar to one we did last August, which would just extend my services.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Joe seconds, all in favor? Aye. And then there's just an update regarding maturity of first-time certificate of deposit. I don't think we have anything, oh, you have something, Luke?
Information on that.
Okay.
This is our first term meeting with here tomorrow. So they will approve the knowledge of the knowledge. I just want to make a decision and go over that to the council again, or you can just say
Roll it on? I think so. Yeah, put the interest in there, good idea.
I can do that. I mean, that was very documented for the, previous supervisor, the vice chair, and, chairman. So, I mean, And then was, I managed the bank scheme, everything with them.
Do we need a resolution forthcoming after the, do we need a resolution forthcoming?
Well, and
Right.
then there's a change,
Just the resolution to roll it over. We don't need it? Okay. I think that's, we decided it was you, right?
and that's what changes that.
Okay.
And this is at, where, this is supposed to.
Yeah, I'll,
Do you know what your, rate will be when you roll
I was told it was gonna be, 4.5, but if you go back to 4.2.
5.15 or TCD. Okay.
Well,
Should we want to?
when we do it, just share that with us later on. I'll be interested to know. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to roll over the CD.
Second for that motion, to roll over the TCD?
That's just said we don't need. We don't need to do, right, we don't need a resolution.
No.
We just want it on the record.
We'll just make a motion so it's on the record.
So, motion stands.
Second. Mike seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you, Lou. Now we can adjourn.
Now go, Mike. Go, Mike.
This is
I'd like to
yours.
renew my motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Doris was a nay.